What's up, lifestyleions? Kingdom Barber here, and I'm back with another one. This week's video, we're going to talk about metal blades versus plastic guards and why, in my opinion, you should definitely have some metal blades on your station. So before we hop into this video, let's roll that intro. Welcome back to the channel. So we're talking about metal blades versus plastic guards, which is going to be these two bad boys right here. So don't get me wrong, guys. I love plastic guards and I also love metal blades. I love them equally the same, but I do believe that there are some advantages to using a metal blade versus using a plastic guard. And as a barber, especially up and new coming barbers, you know, we're in a day and age where a lot of new barbers don't even use detachable clippers, and I think it's a shame. And I live by the motto of, to know where you're going, you have to know where you've been. And growing up, learning from old school barbers and the things that they use and how they got the job done. And you'll be amazed at some of the old techniques, how they can really apply and work for you today. So even though we are using more advanced tools, I think it is also great to not forget about the things that worked well and it still does, like metal detachable blades. So what I want to do in this video is explain to you guys the sizes of metal blades compared to plastic guards, and also give you some of my reasons why metal blades can be better than plastic guards. Like for instance, precision and consistency. Metal blades offer more of an accurate, consistent cutting length sizes compared to plastic metal guards, which plastic guards can bend, flex, shift while using. Next will be durability. Metal blades are built to last. They don't warp, they don't crack, they don't break like plastic guards do often when you're using them frequently. Metal blades are just built tough. I can't even count how many times I've dropped my blade on the ground and I haven't experienced any broken tooth or cracked blades or anything like that. And I've been using metal blades for a long time. Which brings me to my next point, cutting faster. Detachable blades are going to be a lot sharper, they're going to be a lot heavier compared to plastic guards, which will allow you to cut through thick and coarse hair with less friction and also less passes. And what do I mean by less passes? So let's just say you're using a adjustable clipper with a plastic #1 guard on it, and you're going over an area, and it takes you about 4 to 5 times to cut that area down and also cut it evenly. Having a metal blade is going to cut down that time, because again, the metal blade is going to be sharper, also heavier and less friction, which is going to allow you to cut in that same area maybe 2 or 3 times. So you're cutting less passes using a metal blade versus the plastic guard, which, believe me guys, it does save you a lot of time in the end. Plus, you're gonna have better control of your fade because of how uniformly and evenly the cut's gonna look when you're using a metal blade versus using a plastic guard. The metal blade will keep your fades tighter, cleaner, with a really crispy transition line. And my last point that I'm gonna make is that metal blades are much easier maintenance than plastic guards. So, of course, we all know that the metal blades are gonna last longer, but when it comes to disinfecting and cleaning and maintaining your metal blades, you're gonna have a much easier time with that versus having those plastic guards. So here are gonna be all the metal blades that I like to use and that I have, except for one I'm missing. I can't seem to find it, but I'm going to show you guys all the ones that I do have right here, and here are going to be all the plastic guards. So starting off with the first metal blade, it is going to be the Andis outliner blade. We have the 3-op or the 3-0 blade, the 0A blade, the #1 blade, the 1A blade, the 1.5 blade, the Andis 1 3/4 blade, the #2 blade, the Andis 2 3/4 blade, and the 3.5 blade. So here are going to be 2 different style of clippers. On my right hand, you're going to have the Detachable Oster Classic 76 clipper, which takes the metal blades. And then to my left hand, you're going to have the adjustable wall magic clip, which takes the plastic guards. And one of the biggest things that make these 2 clippers different from each other is that the adjustable clipper has a lever. So that's going to give you different length sizes just from the lever. Versus the Oster Classic 76, which has the metal blades, and those are fixed blades and they don't adjust. Those are going to be the 2 main differences difference in both of these clippers. Now I want to compare the metal adjustable blades to the Wall Premium plastic guards and the sizes and how they kind of compare with each other. Starting off with the first blade, which is going to be the outliner blade. Now the outliner blade is going to be more compared to an adjustable clipper with the lever closed all the way, or another way you can look at the outliner blade is comparing it to a trimmer blade. Now the thing with the outliner blade is that it can get pretty close, but not as close as a trimmer blade is going to be. You can technically line up someone up with this outliner blade. If you want more of a sharper edge up lineup, then you're going to use a trimmer. Now the next blade is going to be the 3-op, which is the 3-0 blade. Now the 3-0 blade is going to be more compared to an adjustable clipper with the lever halfway open. That's going to give you more of that 3-0 blade on an adjustable clipper. So the next blade is going to be the one metal. Now the one metal is more of a tricky blade because it's not a one plastic blade and it's not a lever open on the adjustable clipper. It's like in between that. So what I like to do with the one metal blade is I like to use this as my blender blade. This is the blade I use to blend at the end. So I'll skip over the one blade and I go straight to the 1A blade, which is going to be this blade right here. Now this is the 1A metal blade. It's definitely one of my go-to blades. Now this 1A is more compared to the one plastic blade with the lever closed. Now the 1A blade is a tad bit longer than the one plastic blade. So the 1A blade is going to be 3.2 millimeters versus the one plastic blade, which is going to be 3 millimeters. Honestly, I've never really even noticed the difference whenever I'm using the 1A versus the one plastic guard. They're very similar. Now the thing is that when you're using plastic guards, as you can see, the teeth are a lot more closer and tighter. So that's what's going to give you that real tight, close look versus having a plastic, which is going to have a little bit more space. That's why you don't really notice the difference with the one plastic versus the 1A. And leaving the one blade with the lever all the way open is going to be more compared to the 1.5 metal blade. Now the 1.5 plastic blade is going to be more compared to the Andis 1/3/4 blades. Now the Andis 3/4 blade is going to be 4.8 millimeters compared to the Wall 1.5 is going to be 4.5 millimeters. Now there's just a slight difference, but honestly you can't even notice the difference. And then next I have the number 2 Wall Premium plastic guard, and this is going to be at 6 millimeters. So I will compare this number 2 with the lever closed to the metal 2, which is going to be a 6.3 millimeters. So these are going to be very close in size. And then when I want to raise up the lever on the number 2, I will use the Andis 2 3/4 metal blade, and that's going to pretty much give you like the lever open on the 2 premium plastic guards. And that's how I will compare these two. I have a 3.5 blade, but the 3.5 blade to me doesn't really go into the 3 plastic blade, because when you look at the sizes, it's 9.5 millimeter on the metal blade versus the plastic guard is going to be 10 millimeters. The 3 is going to be a little bit longer versus this. So that's why I would use like the metal 3 3/4 metal blade to really use the 3 guard. But to be honest, I never really used the 3 plastic anyway, so I never really go that high. One thing I will say that the plastic guards are better than the metal blades is that the metal blades, once you start getting into the 3.5 blades and the 3 3/4 blade, again, the plastic guard is going to have more space in it. Plus the clipper is going to be also strong as well, versus these blades are going to be a little bit too tight. So when you are cutting down some really thick coarse hair using the metal blades, you have to be careful a little bit because these metal blades can pull. So I never really go up this high on the metal blades. So that's one of the things with the metal blades compared to the plastic guards. The metal blades don't go up higher numbers. The highest number I have is a 3 3/4 if I can find that blade. Compared to this plastic guard, now I do have an actual 10 plastic guard, which I have to find, but I'm just going to use this 8 guard. They don't make an 8 guard for the metal blades here, and I'm able to use a number 8 or number 10 plastic guard, and with a strong motor clipper, I'm able to mow down hair using these compared to these, which the metal blades, again, taking a chance on it pulling. So that's when I like using the plastic guards, is when I'm using higher numbers, which I rarely do. But if I decide to do that, someone say, hey, I want an 8 all the way around, I'm going to use a plastic guard. So that's the advantage of the plastic guard. So what I like to do is use the detachable clipper and also the adjustable clipper. I like to use them both when I'm doing my haircuts. Now, I can do a full fade with just using a detachable clipper, but I feel like I have more control. And while I like using the adjustable clipper, to me, the adjustable clipper fades better. Now, the detachable clipper is a better blender clipper. Now, blending and fading is two different things. Once you go from a 0 to a half, you want to use the adjustable clipper because it's going to be better at fading because you're just using that lever play when you are doing the fading. But then once you start blending, it's going to start from anything from that 1 to 2. And then the blending part comes in when you're using the detachable clipper, which is really good for blending in from the 1 to the 2. I like to think of the adjustable clipper as that it's really good when you're doing the bottom part of the fade, and then when you're doing more of the higher part of the fade, you want to use the detachable clipper. That's kind of how I like to look at both of these clippers. The way I like to use these together is I set my guidelines with the metal blades. Again, because the metal blades are going to be a lot more cleaner and more precise, setting my guidelines with the metal blades. And then once I set my guidelines in, I knock everything out using my adjustable clipper. And me using them both like that just really elevated my fades. So we get caught up in trying to find what's the best clipper, and at the end of the day, it's all about what's comfortable for you, what you like using in your hand. You like the lighter clipper, you like the heavier clipper. It all depends on what your preference is, and we all have different preferences. And my preference is using the adjustable clipper with the detachable clipper. That's how I like to use both of these clippers, and to me the phases come out really nice when I'm using both. I got a system down to where I can do it pretty quick too. Because of the detachable clipper is faster, I'm able to set those guidelines in real quick, and then I knock them out with the adjustable clipper. And that's how I use both of them. I just feel like they each play a part in their role when I'm using them as far as getting my fades done. And that's why I would tell any up and coming new barber, get a detachable clipper, learn the blades, and use them. You will see the difference in how smooth and evenly those guidelines will look when you're using a detachable clipper. So guys, don't sleep on it. I know it seems like a lot of money to invest in just a clipper to set in guidelines, but believe me, as a professional, you want the best tools that can do the best things. So that's gonna be a wrap on today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed the content. If you did, you already know what to do. Make sure you smash that subscribe button, get a video a thumbs up, and follow me on my Instagram page at Kingmelifestyles, and also my TikTok as well. And until then, I'm gonna see you on the next video.